Good morning, City of Pittsburgh, and welcome to the standing committee meeting for the Clean Pittsburgh Commission for March 9th, 2023. My name is Lori Beth Jones. My pronouns are she, hers. I'm a resident of Grafton Heights and the co-chair of the Clean Pittsburgh Commission. So thanks for coming to visit us today. We are happy to be here with you on the second Thursday of the month. And we will begin with introductions of the committee, as always, kicked off by my co-chair over to this side of me. I like it because it's probably to a different side for the rest of you, and it's a mess.
Hi, my name is Chris Mitchell. I'm anti-litter specialist for the City of Pittsburgh and co-chair of the Clean Pittsburgh Commission. I'll turn it over to the next one on my screen, which is Erica.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Erica Young. I am the secretary for the Clean Pittsburgh Commission and public affairs representative for waste management. I will turn it over to Becca.
Morning, everyone. Becca Simon here, director of programming at Grounded Strategies. I use she, her pronouns and resident at Garfield, and I'm a prospective commission member. And I'll pass it to Erin Tobin.
Thanks, Becca. Erin Tobin with the Pittsburgh Parks Conservancy and the Northside rep for the Clean Pittsburgh Commission. I use she, her pronouns, and I will pass it over to Myrna.
Good morning. I'm the executive director of Allegheny Cleanways, and I'm a resident of Polish Hill in the city. And I will pass it to Kelsey.
Morning, everyone. I'm Kelsey Ripper. I'm the executive director at Friends of the Riverfront. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm also a resident of Lawrenceville and a prospective member of the commission. I will pass it over to Sarah Kinter.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Sarah Kinter, Director of the Department of Permits, Licenses, and Inspections. Apologies, I don't know who's left, so I will ask Lori Beth to decide.
I got it. Thank you so much, Sarah. Let's hop over to Josh.
Good morning. I'm Joshua Schuneman. I'm the Collection Events Manager at Pennsylvania Resources Council and a Northside resident in Spring Hill. And I think I will pass it to one of the Heather Watsons if I've paid enough attention.
No, thank you, Heather. Thank you, Heather Watson. Heather is our staff support for the City Channel Pittsburgh today. Usually we only get David. Today we get David and Heather together. Is it better with two? I believe the only person left for introductions is Afton.
Hi, just joined. My name is Afton Giles. I'm the principal planner from Sustainability and Resilience, joining you guys today. And I think I'm the last person, so I'm off the hook for trying to play popcorn.
Trying to remember the popcorn is like the hardest part of the whole meeting, honestly. Everything else is written on a piece of paper. Even if I don't have that piece of paper in front of me, at least I know that it's there. So I am going to pop the agenda up on the screen here very quickly. If everyone can see that, I see that there's lots of people looking at it right now, so that's cool. Oh, it's not time for agenda review and approval yet. My bad, because I didn't read the mission. We're doing great. The mission of the Clean Pittsburgh Commission is to act as a primary resource for addressing quality of life issues in Pittsburgh's communities through waste and recycling education, community cleanups, beautification, and ordinance enforcement, to coordinate communication to empower community organizations to maintain and improve neighborhood environments, to maintain strong communication with city departments and officials for support in addressing neighborhood problems, to facilitate collaboration between community groups, residents, and city government to reach the most effective solutions to neighborhood problems within the commission's scope, to coordinate work with local volunteer organizations and groups to support neighborhood cleanups, to use funds to address neighborhood problems on a citywide basis, and to work cooperatively either way, towards the goal of zero waste in the city of Pittsburgh. Just change the word. It's fine. Thank you so much. Now we'll do agenda review and approval. You can see that agenda there on your screen right now. Ta-da!
I will motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you, everyone. That means that I will unshare and we will just move on for meeting review and approval. With Erica, we did not have a quorum last month, so we didn't vote to approve me. It was the first time in a long time, actually, we didn't have a quorum. So you did not vote to approve minutes from last month. Is that correct? That's from memory.
So I was not in attendance to the February meeting. So I do not know if the quorum happened. I do need to go back through and record the minutes, but I have January's meeting minutes if you'd like me to share those.
Yeah, I think we
Yes, please.
should do that because we did not do that.
Let me pull them up real quick. Typing. Okay, so I think, again, I am technology challenged. I will try to share my screen here. And can you guys see this? Perfect. Okay, here are, I will just scroll down minutes. This is for our January 12th, 2023 meeting. I'll stop here and let me know. I'll just scroll down in a few seconds for everyone time to read. Sorry, page jump.
I see a misspelling with gold plan, golf plan, which seems like quite
It's a
an
new
alteration, but
sorry about that. I'm gonna move down. Let me know if I'm going too fast here. Just gonna scroll a little bit, so we got a little bit more there. I'm gonna take another move. Sorry. Let me know if I'm going too fast. I'm gonna take this to the end. So another move. Whoops. Sorry. Here we go.
Pittsburgh is missing an H.
We're now in Kansas, I guess. This is Pittsburgh and Kansas.
It will get you in trouble if you miss that H. I don't know.
I know. No shade, guys. Sorry. I'm gonna do one last little, I think this is the end of it right here. Sorry, a lot more updates than I thought. There we go.
Hayeswoods are two separate words.
Like that.
Yeah, perfect.
And I think that one is it just Hays? Like AES is the neighbor. I'm not sure. I get that confused a lot.
I think it's HAYS, but I don't know if there's a apostrophe. I don't know if it's specific about it, but I think it's just HAYS.
I will note to Google that to make sure it's accurate whenever I send these updated ones out. Then we just have the
It does not have an apostrophe on the city website talking about Friends of Hazewoods and the task force and things.
Thank you, Lori Beth. Okay, that is the end of the minutes for January. I also saw that we needed to approve our November minutes. I needed to make some spelling updates. So let me pull those up as well. Pause for a second, please. Okay, we're gonna stop share. November 10th. Okay, so here's November. The was under the PRC bench was there we go. Whoops. I think it was between PRC and the there we go. That was, I think, all we had on November to update. So I'm going to stop sharing so I can multitask here. Okay, so we'll take first a motion to approve the meetings from the January 12th meeting. Motion to approve. Amit, thank you. And you want a second?
A second.
Thank you, Chris. All in favor? Motion carries. Okay, so then for the December, I think it was the 10th, December 10th meeting. Just double check the date. Yeah, do we have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from November 10th, 2022?
I'll move. Lori Beth.
Thank you, Lori Beth. A second.
I'll second. Smyrna.
Thank you, Myrna. Any opposed? All in favor? All right, motion carries. Thank you, guys.
Good work, everyone. Thank you. All right. And now it's time for our main discussion of the day, as far as I understand it, which is regarding it's time to set a new neighborhood of focus, either in our general meeting or with a future subcommittee. However, we do like to take input from everyone. And I know we have, I know that Mayor Gainey's office had mentioned some possible desired areas during our meeting with them the end of last year, or the end of last summer, whenever it was. It's not the end of the year. Sorry about that. So our most recent neighborhood of focus, of course, was Esplin. That was a really awesome opportunity for us to be here on the west and in a small-ish neighborhood that felt manageable during all of the limitations of the pandemic, when we weren't able to do a lot of the historical things maybe that we have done with neighborhood of focus. Then previously we were in Homewood. then what, Perry Hilltop? And then the Hilltop, or was it the hill and then the Hilltop? Those are like our last 10 years of neighborhoods of focus.
Yeah, I think it went, if I recall, I think it was like Hazelwood and then Beltsuber Hilltop. And then Hazelwood might have been before we were doing the actual neighborhood of focus, but I think it was our first, but maybe Hilltop was Beachview Hilltop, and then Perry South, and then Homewood. And then Esplin.
It's on our website. Thanks, Chris. I'm going to assume that Chris did that.
Yeah, we do need to update some of that. And then I'm going to share my screen real quick. This is what we had previously when we met with Mayor Gainey in the fall in our first meeting as a commission with Mayor Gainey, what we were proposing, you know, all the areas in green are where we had previously done it. And some areas we thought that maybe he'd want to focus on. We didn't ever get really an answer back as to what he would prefer. I know he was at the time doing a lot of focus on Homewood and all in on Homewood sort of campaign. But we had already done Homewood not that too long ago. So I don't know if this was just going to be a little outside of his wheelhouse of what he'd like. So this is just what we had brought up, but never really got an answer. So we can, I think, have leeway to make those decisions ourselves, talk a little bit more about maybe what we want to look at, where areas we haven't focused before. And of course, these potentials that we brought up aren't written in stone. We don't have to pick from that list of 4 areas. There's the whole city.
Do we have like a set of criteria that we use to pick? I'm asking because I'm extremely biased and I have lots of ideas right now, but I feel like there should be rules that I should be following. So that's why I'm asking.
I think Myrna is a really good person to tell us about the history of how we chose the neighborhoods of focus, why we have a neighborhood of focus. So if, Myrna, if you could share on that.
Oh my. I don't know that there were guidelines ever put in place. I think initially it started as a strategic, it's part of the strategic plan to choose neighborhoods of focus. And we, you know, I think maybe the reason's obvious, I don't know, but so that we could focus on one area and dedicate, see what difference we could make when we all kind of pool our resources and focus in one area. Quite honestly, I think a lot of the neighborhoods of focus were chosen because we were working there. We being Allegheny Cleanways, you know, already were working in the community in some capacity and had some sort of, so there was an inroad already into the community. But yeah, I think having some parameters would be really good because that makes it a lot easier to choose each year and there's no bias. I mean, I think the other thing that when it definitely went into our thinking was diversity of locations, you know, trying to hit, and it's nice to see that map that we've done, you know, we've done a pretty good job of that. So
yeah, that's the first thing that came to mind when I was looking at it, the diversity of locations. And you know, we've done more on the East End than, but you know, that makes sense, the population is greater. But it's good to see we've had at least one north, one west, one south so far.
Yeah, it looks if we were looking to continue that method, continue what we have done is try to focus on areas we haven't really done before. I think Central would be a place we'd want to focus next, like in the Hill District or something like that. We chose last year Esplin in part 1 because in our litter index pilot, it was found to have been the most littered. And so that we wanted to do something with that information, even though that wasn't a citywide comprehensive indexing yet. And also in that it was on that western side of the city we hadn't hit before, and it was very small, which we would before gone for very sort of much more dense neighborhoods, and Esplin was very, very small. The struggle we faced in Esplin is that it was very, very small, and there wasn't as much community participation, not a whole lot of leadership there that we can sort of piggyback on things that they were already doing, or there was work already being done in Esplin that we could just come in and help support. I think which Myrna said was a big reason of why we did certain neighborhoods before, is because we knew that there was good work going on and we could definitely make a difference in getting involved in that. So these are all just sort of up in the air things that we can talk about and figure out what we want to do, but I don't think there's very strict rules on any of it. I'd love to hear suggestions about why we'd like to see in some different areas, or if we know of already, like Myrna said, the path of sort of not least resistance, but it makes a lot of sense to align ourselves with work already being done in some areas and making that a focus. If there's anything in the Hill District or any other area that you'd like to see focused on that hasn't previously gotten that kind of attention. So I want to hear about your biases, Aaron. Where you want to go?
Can you put the map back up actually?
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Chris. I drive home most days of the week and come into Deutschtown and off of 28, and there's just a major litter problem there. So that's something that's always been on my mind. It's kind of like in my mind, actually quite a few of the gateways to the north side, when the different entrances to the north side are pretty in pretty bad shape. So that's just like a very personal bias. But I also feel like the South Hills region, we do a lot of work in McKinley Park. There's a lot of litter from what I can tell when I'm in those neighborhoods. If it's in the neighborhood, it ends up in the green spaces at some point, right? So yeah, I'm biased to kind of across the river from the East End. So northwest or south. I'd like to see another south, because that seems to me, looking at this map, that we're lacking there. If we're just talking geographic diversity.
I would agree. I was actually thinking something south too. This is Afton. Even though I will say off of 28, there's quite a bit of opportunity on all parts of 28.
Yes, indeed.
To help to clean up. But I was feeling something south too, just to, I'm an East Ender and I know we get a lot of love, but I definitely want to make sure our West and our South are taken care of too.
Yeah.
I'm not a commission member, but I can speak to some of the work that's happening in the Hill District too, especially the work that we do directly with stewards. We have around 10 to 20 community care stewards doing cleanups and volunteer days in partnership with SCA as well as Duquesne Light pretty often. Some of the biggest issues they see in that area is consistent litter drops at pretty much like corner sites on a lot of vacant lots. And they're struggling with the lack of trash cans run by the city in that area.
We're doing a lot of work in the Hill District as well right now, particularly on stairs, our stairs program. But yeah, lots of need. I mean, I drive through the Hill District all the time and there's need, lots of need. There's lots of need everywhere in the city. Let's not kid ourselves, unfortunately. But yeah, so my concern about the South, it's not a concern actually, because I would absolutely, anywhere in the city, let me just say that, we will go anywhere in the city and gladly support that. We did focus on the area that you're talking about, Aaron, Belts Hoover, Knoxville, Allentown, Arlington. I think those were our big focus areas up there. So I would just hesitate to go back to that area again before we've hit other places. So
I think that's fair. I mean, we have two events there tomorrow with you guys,
Right,
tomorrow and
exactly.
Saturday, and we're very active there. So I was just mentioning it, but I agree. I don't think we should go back there because it's clearly was where we were before. So I was just saying, just like looking at all the white around that.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I meant by south. I didn't mean, I was just mentioning it. Sorry. Yeah, thank you.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm a little bit biased towards the Hill District because kind of unlike Myrna, we can't just go everywhere. We have to, our mission focuses on the riverfronts, and there is a large riverfront that is included in that highlighted area of the Hill District. And so we do pick up quite a lot of litter along that section of riverfront and trail. So that's just my little 2 cents, a little bit of bias.
Are there any organizations here that is doing a lot of work in Hill District compared to other areas, or at least has a lot of connections with the Hill District area?
Sounds like quite a few of us, actually.
Yeah,
I'll just really quickly chime in. We've been active with city planning on the parks master plan work. We're active in August Wilson Park. And then we are looking at forming a Friends of Kennard Park, and Kennard Park is full of trash all of the time. And so we parks, I don't think we're not nearly as active as Grounded or Allegheny Cleanways, but we Parks Conservancy can absolutely be a partner if the Hill District was chosen to be helpful, in that way, because we are doing a lot of because the master plan is just a plan right now. There's no implementation dollars. So we're just kind of focusing on quick wins with our work in the Hill, which really is around like litter picking, right? And beautifying spaces. So count us in as a partner there if that's, the chosen neighborhood.
I guess we should make sure we understand that the Hill District is several neighborhoods instead of just one. I don't know that makes a difference for us. Again, I think I would prefer to focus on all of the Hill District neighborhoods, but just, if that makes a difference to anyone. We're right now we've mostly been working in Middle Hill area, but we actually had a request from Bluff. What is the actual name of that neighborhood? I don't know. Uptown Bluff, yeah. And to do some work there. So I think there's community groups. There are lots of community groups in the Hill District. They're very active. I could go on. And Becca already talked about all the great things that they're doing as well. So not that she can't say more, but yeah.
I think we treated Homewood as a, even though there are multiple sub neighborhoods, right? Real neighborhoods, but we treated it as one. So, but I think adding the Bluff in, anyway, we don't want to bite off too big of a bit of work, but wouldn't mind tossing that in mentally, physically. I don't know.
I think. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I think Bluff is on there. I mean, it's highlighted. I think it's one of the Hill District
I'm just not sure if
neighborhoods.
we're considering it the same as that same block, but I don't know. That's technically doesn't really matter.
Gotcha. I see.
I mean, I could look into it. I feel like a lot of the community organizations probably that we would be partnering with in that area, many of them already cover that amalgamation of neighborhoods and refer to them by that singular name, even though I think it's like 5, because there's Crawford Roberts in there too, and that's the one that goes like this.
Yeah, and I think we have precedent there, like with the Hilltop District, to just say several of these neighborhoods are our focus here. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. And yeah, part of choosing Esplin last time was about getting over to an area we hadn't been before. So this is definitely something that I think this meets our informal criteria at the very least of there's work being done there, there's work that needs to be done, that needs to be supported, and having us as a resource, there's communities involved there that can give us some direction of what they need.
I just have a question. I'm definitely in full support. It definitely sounds like there's a lot of synergy around the Hill District, so I'm all in for the Hill. I'm just wondering if maybe this year we can take some agenda time to maybe decide what a criteria might look like for us, just for our future selections. And maybe part of that criteria is, some of the synergy of like the organizations or something like that. Maybe that's part of it. And my other question is there a way that we can start thinking about how we can treat the root cause of what's causing some of the litter and not just the symptom of cleaning up and, once we clean up and it's gone, then of course the litter comes back. Is there something that we can do for some of these communities that can treat some of the root causes of what's causing the litter? And it's not always just a person like haphazardly throwing something away. Sometimes it's the lack of trash cans. Sometimes it's just the lack of lids on trash cans. Maybe we can do something with sort of the put a lid on it campaign or something like that. Maybe there's something that we can do to also help make sure that the changes that we're making long-term are a little bit more sustainable beyond us just coming to a neighborhood and cleaning it up and looking great for about a week. And then,
right.
Maybe
that was the whole
or something. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely, Afton. That was the whole idea of the commission having a neighborhood of focus rather than just like Allegheny Cleanways having a neighborhood of focus, because sure, we can go in and clean it up, but all of the partners of the commission are what really make change in a neighborhood, getting us all activated. And I think, in our defense, the Clean Pittsburgh Commission have tried to do those things before. I think we've looked at getting trash cans and recycling cans in places, and so we have made some effort. I think there's always room, and cameras, and I mean the list goes on. It's not been singular, but I think that's the key. That's what we should always be focusing on. And then just to add another thought to this discussion, and I'm okay with Hill District completely, but I do know that the watersheds of South Pittsburgh, they are doing a lot. They are in the process, maybe completed a strategic plan, and there's a lot of work going on in those communities as well along Sawmill Run Boulevard. So if we did want to go to the south, I think there would be good connection in some of those communities. But that might be something, it is a long-term plan too. So that might be something that we maybe think about gearing up toward, or, working with them to see how we can, that could be maybe our next neighborhood of focus or something. I don't know.
So I think opening this up exactly like Myrna was saying there, to a couple other places where, if we want to bring up just other places we know good work is starting up and may need some help. The Watershed group along Sawmill Run Boulevard. Is there anywhere else that we haven't talked about yet that work may be starting somewhere that our organizations know of that may need extra support?
Hayes, I don't know if that's, it was mentioned Hayes Woods. Most of Hayes is Hayes Woods. So I don't know, if we want to actually concentrate over there, but maybe that whole area that most people in the city most people don't even know that some of those neighborhoods exist over there. They're like that little tail of the city. It would be nice to give them some love at some point as well. And since it looks like what I know, it looks like Parks Conservancy is working over in Hayes. Allegheny Land Trust has just purchased some property over in that area. I think Land Forest, there are several groups that are starting to work over there. I don't know if that's enough, but.
I mean, Streets Run is Hayes, right? Or am I misunderstanding? Like Sawmill Run is more like District 2, 3, like West Side area, and Streets, that's what goes into Hayes, right? With the watersheds of.
I think so. Yeah. Streets comes down, there's Hayes, I don't remember. Baldwin comes in there, like the city line gets blurry for me right in that area. So, but yes, Streets Run is definitely part of that area that I'm talking about.
One more thing I do want to say about the Hill District is that I do know, on top of Homewood being a focus for the Gainey administration, downtown is also becoming a very large focus for the administration too. And the walkability from the Hill District, the connection from Hill District to downtown is a large part of that conversation. So even though I don't know that there'd be a lot for us to do for downtown, having that, bordering that, having that be a part of that conversation is another point in favor of Hill District if we were doing a point system, which we are definitely not. So I don't believe we need to pick a neighborhood of focus today. We can either form a subcommittee about it to narrow down to a vote for next month, or do we think that's even required?
Yeah, sorry, it's Myrna again. I keep butting in here. It sounds to me like there's a lot of consensus around the Hill District, so I hesitate to put it off yet again. I think we've had some good discussion. My instinct here is to, why don't we just take a poll and see now? And unless this is too small of a group. I don't know if we have a quorum or not, but.
Now we're doing good on members today, and I think we have just about everybody who's officially on the commission. We still need to build up our membership, but I think we're doing really well today. So I agree. I think a poll would be great.
Sorry, maybe one alternative approach, sorry to throw in another option, is to just proceed with these neighborhoods that were selected, and then for the next year talk about different elements to put a box around future selections, whether what data would be helpful, what sort of community input, all the engagement pieces, just sort of create our own guidance for next year. But these all seem like really great options for 2023, and our time is short and spring is here, so I'm kind of in the mind of let's do it and perfect for next time.
That's great. If we can kind of bake this into our strategic plan of what constitutes the best conditions for a neighborhood of focus, that seems like the place to like contain that, right? Excellent. All right. Do we want to move on to is this a vote or is this a poll? Do
we want to send the poll out as an email and add, Hayes Streets Run to potential for the following year and some information like that, and send this as do you want to send it as an email? I'm fine with taking it now. I'm just, if anyone's on a pause about it.
Yeah, why don't we go ahead and just hold a vote now? Because if anybody wants to bring anything else up during that, what we could else vote on, let's do that. All right, all in favor of the Hill District being the 2023-2024 neighborhood of focus? Please raise your hand or say aye.
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 Any opposed? Awesome.
There looks like there is one.
Oh,
one opposed. Is that correct?
I didn't see it. I'm sorry.
I couldn't tell. The little hands go up quickly, and I'm not sure. But I thought I saw a hand when you said opposed, but maybe it was left over from the other. I'm so sorry.
I think it was left over.
I may have just been trying to lower my hand. Sorry. I did like the raised hand, and my reaction time to lower might have been a little delayed. So that could have been me. I am not opposed.
Is there anybody who would like to bring up any other neighborhood for a vote?
I would just, if we can do Sheridan this year, I think that would be a great opportunity for additional cleanup. And I'm just aware from where I sit of code enforcement complaints coming into the department and the need to respond with DPW cleaning liens. So just throwing it out there as a potential option as well, though I know, we're relying on volunteers and all that other good stuff.
All right. So are the rules of this vote? You can only vote for the one?
Well, I was going to say, so Sarah, that's what I was asking. Are you suggesting that we do have two neighborhoods of focus?
Yeah, I am. And that seems really rude upon reflection. So I apologize. If we can only have one, we voted, but I'm throwing this out to the wind, and we can table it until next time if that would make everyone comfortable, since I threw it out there without any warning.
I mean, do you think it's a good idea that we, get, like, we can start planning right now for Sheridan next year? Like, we can talk about, I think that's what we should be doing, right? Like planning in the year advance for a neighborhood of focus, and it's always like last minute. The least we can do is like say that Sheridan will be our next neighborhood of focus and start planning. Sucks that we didn't do it for the Hill, but.
So really quickly, again, always, this is the only song I sing in this meeting. The neighborhood of focus is legislated to be on a 2-year cycle. We are not behind. We are not at the last minute. We generally select the neighborhood going into the spring of 1 year and work with that neighborhood until the fall of the following year.
Mm-hmm.
So I hate starting everything and saying we're doing it poorly when we're doing it how we're supposed to do it.
That was not my intention, but
I know,
it seems like we've been trying to figure this out for a while. So that's why I felt like we're finally making a vote. So not saying that we're doing it poorly, but we've been talking about it for a while. But probably just waiting on the mayor, which he's not going to give us any feedback. So that's what we've been held up on. So.
And I mean, sorry, Erica.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, as a West Sider, I'd be fine with if all the neighborhoods of focus were literally right outside my front door. That's really great for me personally. And honestly, cleanup is one of the things that the Sheridan Community Council does really regularly and in a structured way. So it would probably not be the worst. However, I don't know if I feel good about having 2 neighborhoods of focus at a time, especially 2 that are so large.
To your point, Lori Beth, if this is in code, that we select one, let's follow the code. Am I understanding that correctly? I'll look it up and I'll put it in chat so that everyone can read the code, just to make sure we're sort of grounding ourselves in that.
At times we do certainly like to play by we do what we want. But we also try to do what we want in the spirit of the legislation. And And I think we hit a pretty decent note there somewhere in the middle.
I have, I mean, maybe what we could do, just throwing this out there, is have some sort of like garbage Olympics focused cleanup to honor Sam Palambino. I don't know if you all know, and I might have mispronounced his last name. It might be Palambino. Yeah.
You did great.
Yeah. Okay. But Sam was a lifelong, he was always coordinating the volunteer cleanups there. He was an amazing volunteer, not just with cleanups, but in general, in Sheridan, and he just passed this last year. So it might be nice to just have some sort of big event there and in honor of him. That might be a semi-solution. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd love, and this is something I was thinking of recently, that we will hopefully very soon have a large amount of new members coming on, and just an exercise, have all of us do a cleanup and get to know each other, having that in Sheridan, since not as a consolation prize, but since it looks like we're going to be choosing a Hill District as a neighborhood of focus before we go too far down the path of focusing on the Hill District. We can absolutely do something in Sheridan, serve a couple functions, all of us get together, all of us participate in cleanup, honor Sam Palambino. No, I'm looking at the wrong person. Palomino, and I think we can accomplish all of that. So yeah, that would be wonderful. So I guess we are now to a motion to approve the Hill District as our neighborhood of focus for 2023 and 2024.
I motion to approve.
Seconded.
Oh, okay.
You get nervous throwing yourself out there like that. I approve. Okay. And are we all in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
All in favor, raise your hands.
Aye.
Any opposed? Excellent. Thank you, everybody. So glad we get to talk this stuff out.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, so wait, what are our next steps there? Should I shoot an email to Counselor Lavelle and some of the RCOs up there? Or
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. It's reaching out to City Council, to the community groups. I think, many of our organizations here have inroads with people doing good work there, so we can build on that. If we want to hold maybe a meeting in the area and invite everybody who's relevant to that meeting, or join one that's already scheduled, that would be great.
okay. I think that's moving on to the next thing now, which is Finance Committee updates. Afton is here. Sarah's unable to be. Have we done anything with the Finance Committee this month? I tried to go to the meeting and I wound up in Microsoft Teams cycle hell, and then by the time I got there, no one was there, or I did it wrong. Unclear.
Right, so we did. We were resolving some of the outstanding things from last year. Can you guys hear me okay? Hello? Okay, good. So we were resolving some of the outstanding items that we had remaining from last year. We're looking at a budget of $30,000 this year. And from that, we have budgeted city surveillance cameras. This is a carryover from last year, actually, that's going to need to be paid out of this year's budget. Unfortunately, We received the invoice for it too late in order to process it for last year's budget. So we'll need to pay the $4,800 from last year and probably towards the end of this year, a quantity similar to that, unless we are able to have that pulled from a different stream of funding. I know we had talked about the possibility of that happening. We also have Allegheny Cleanways as a carryover. And I think we had Pennsylvania Resource Council as a carryover too, as those are the three things that we were unable to get sort of resolved. And then we need to plan for this year. So let's see, I don't have the most recent version of that. I was trying to see if I could have that sent to me really quick. So let me really quickly try to see if I can do some subtraction here and give you guys sort of the working budget that we have to work with going forward this year. We can probably move on to the next thing, so I'm not holding you guys up while I do the subtraction.
I did have a comment.
Sure.
I was wondering if we could, we know when that deadline is, right? For when we need things submitted and like just kind of, I don't know, start in August, we have some ambiguities, like queue up your list now if you want things paid for, so that we can be prepared and have them submitted in time so that we don't run into these issues in the future. But that was my one suggestion.
Yep, I think that's a great one. So we're looking at $21,774.50 remaining to play with this year.
For the cameras, we're trying to get that paid through our P card. There's been some confusion of who can approve that with Dave Osterman retirement. So we have to follow up with DPW and there should be approvals for that. It's been a hard time narrowing that down and getting that done, but we will. So yeah, 100% we need a better due date for when we're realizing we're coming towards the end of the years and we haven't been able to fund everything we wanted to get those projects in so that we don't miss the deadlines like we have before. I got nothing else. We're good. But obviously, a lot of our funding for what we want to spend on this year will be determined by the needs of our neighborhood of focus. So as we meet with them, determine what they want, that's where a lot more of this is going to be about this, what we're doing this year instead of continue trying to pay off last year. We can probably go ahead and move on to member organization updates if we want to go around. We good with that? Yeah, excellent. I'll go ahead and just start on a couple of things out of our office. The job postings for the city of Pittsburgh regarding the inspection team supervisor, which is part of the gold plan, that has been posted and they are starting to schedule the interviews for that now for the first wave of consolidation of inspection responsibilities. We are also have posted and are going to start the interviews for the bag ban personnel. It's an enforcement environmental enforcement coordinator, something along those lines. Was a very weird title they chose, but that person will be working with our inspection team and environmental services to get our bag ban program up and running. So that's going to be hired very soon as well. And then out of our office, Missy Rosenfeld is due to return next month. We're very excited to have her back and be part of the team and get back to work on our cameras and all that. So we're very excited about having her back in the fold. That's all from me.
I'd be happy to go. So from city planning, we are moving forward with our composting initiative. So we are super excited for that. It'll be Pittsburgh's first community entree as a city into actually doing some composting. We're looking for up to 300 Brave residents to help us test out a couple different solutions in the city of Pittsburgh. For more information on the initiative and to sign up to participate with us in our pilot, you can go to our Engage PGH page, and if you do a search for composting, it'll come right up. And there's also a press release about it that's coming out this week. We also have a part-time position that we're hiring for through the end of this year at $15 an hour to help us with that same initiative. The information for it is on the Engage PGH site, or you can go to the city's hiring site as well. It's Department of City Planning Community Coordinator position. And I know PRC is not here today right now, so I'll also mention that PRC also has a part-time position for I think it's an zero waste events position that's up to part-time. So I'll do a shout out for on PRC's behalf too. They are also hiring.
Josh is here, so he can, if there's more to say, he can.
Yeah, no. Well, thank you for thinking.
That's great.
Yeah.
No.
I will also add that in addition to that zero waste position, we're also hiring a part-time position, mainly focused around our City of Pittsburgh collections. That role would be aiding in the weekly e-waste collections, as well as about one Saturday a month or so, either for the HHW collections at the Environmental Services Building or at our various neighborhood collections that we hold throughout the city as well. And then speaking of our city collections, we have adjusted into our springtime schedule, and we will be collecting e-waste on Tuesdays from 2 to 6 and on Thursdays from 3 to 7, extending those hours from our winter time now that the sun is out a little more, which is, just generally easier and safer for everybody. And then in addition to that, this coming Saturday, we do have our first household chemical collection event of the year for the city of Pittsburgh that we're very excited for. And if you're not signed up for it already, I'm sorry, but it's too late, as we are sold out and at capacity. So we're very excited for that. Just be mindful if you are attending that the St. Patrick's Day Parade will also be going on as well. So don't cut through downtown. Come see us any other direction but through downtown. And then in addition to that, our first neighborhood collection of the year for e-waste will be taking place in Brookline at the end of April on Saturday, April 29th. It'll be taking place at the Memorial Park up there. We want to thank Anthony Coghill's office for all of our help, as well as DPW for helping us scout and locate and set up that collection. It's not open exclusively to residents in that neighborhood, but that is kind of our main goal, to help service folks who may not have access to come down to see us in the Strip District. So we would love to see you there as well. And then I guess in addition to that, in the next week or so, PRC will be announcing our full collection schedule for the year, which everyone in Allegheny County is welcome to attend as well, including all city residents. So hopefully we will see you sometime in the near future.
That is all so exciting. And I think those of you who have been on the commission, there are a few of us that have been on this commission for a long, long time. Those of you who are new probably don't get the level at which we've made so much progress, you guys. And, like, to hearing what's happening even with the e-waste and hazardous waste here in the city, not to mention just all the other stuff that's happening, is really exciting, because that was something we've been, as a commission, have been working toward for a long time. And, like, we don't get all the credit, but I think, there's that push, and the collective push that we've been doing has opened up some doors for a lot of good things to happen. So I say all of that because these meetings can sometimes feel like drudgery, or, like we talk about the same thing again and again, or we see litter constantly, blah, blah, I feel that as well. But there has been a lot of progress over the last decade, especially. So thank you all. Sorry that there's noise in my background. But while I'm talking, I'll just announce a couple of other things. I think, I don't know if Erin is still on the call or not, but she had mentioned earlier about a cleanup in McKinley Park this weekend, 2 days. Pittsburgh Parks Conservancy and Allegheny Cleanways really need some lots of volunteers for that. So come out, please, and help with that. That's our big one. We have, Earth Month is coming up, and Earth Day happens to be falling on the weekend this year. So we all are going to be inundated, I'm sure, with a lot of events and opportunities. But that's it for now. Thanks.
Does anybody else have a member organization update? It seems like we're doing most of our organizations.
I can go. We'll be having our community care kickoff on April 7th, including neighborhoods of the Hill District, mostly the Middle Hill, Homewood, Larimer, and then outside the city, Pittsburgh and Wilkinsburg. So excited to get that started. Looking towards expanding more opportunities for advocacy around maintenance too, and creating maintenance advisory committees to help create standards of vacant land beautification in their neighborhoods.
I can go. Friends of the Riverfront's planning a big Earth Day event in the South Side this year in Southside Riverfront Park. Lots of fun activities, including some litter focused things, and then just really ramping up for the season. Myrna, did you mention Litter League? I can't remember. I'm sorry, got distracted for a second.
No, that's okay. After I stopped, I thought, oh, Litter League. Yeah, thank you, Kelsey.
Yeah, we're kicking off Litter League again this year. We're shortening it to 6 weeks. So it starts on Earth Day and will end the first week of June. There's going to be 3 big tournaments, one of which will be in the city, probably the final tournament in June. The other ones will be in the Allegheny Valley and the Mon Valley. I think we've already filled up all 10 community teams, and a few of them from the city, which we're excited about. And then we're working on getting our corporate league teams in place. We have a few signed up, but we still have lots of slots open for corporate teams. If anyone knows of anyone that would like to put together a team, we're excited about that. And I have my interview today with City Council for becoming a commissioner. So hopefully there'll be good news coming with that. And I think there's 3 of us that are going today for our interviews. So hoping for good news on that front.
Very exciting.
Can I ask a question? Oh, Becca has their hand up. Sorry, you get to go.
Oh, no. I was just wondering, like, I submitted an application a while back and I haven't heard anything. Is there like any back end that I still need to do for that?
Did you fill out the city volunteer form?
Yeah.
Okay, I will follow up them and find out where you are.
Great. Thank you so much.
I also submitted mine and have yet to hear anything. So just want to keep that, on the attention list.
I want to make it clear that the people who are having their interviews today, like, first applied like 6+ months ago. So I don't think
thank you.
we're in a danger zone yet, but I will follow up with those names. Where it's happening. It's finally is happening a little bit. My question is, while we're still paying for literati, is that part of these other things like Litter League and things? Because I don't hilariously fully understand how we're integrating that with other things that everyone is doing.
Literati does need a bigger push. I am working on some more materials. We did have the mayor share out the availability of literati to the public with a Clean Pittsburgh Friday post. Every Friday, if we have something for him to share, he will on his social media accounts. And so we do have a new challenge up for the year, the yearly challenge that anybody can join with Clean PGH. We do need to do a better job of pushing that out and having a social media presence on. So I'd love to incorporate that on more things. Literati is really great as a research tool, but when we're talking about things like Litter League and the Garbage Olympics, the focus on those are always time, how much you can how much you can really pick up in a certain allotted amount of time. And literati works against that. That's a slower process. It's a little bit more cumbersome. So I think there are opportunities out there. I think they just don't make sense for our great competitive efforts. But if anybody wants their own challenges, their organizations to look at anything in particular, has any idea of how they could use the Literati platform, please reach out to me. We'll create your own challenges and make sure that you and your team are able to use it to the best function they can.
Okay, thanks, Chris.
Thank you for bringing that up. It is definitely on. Well, it's on the list to do a little bit better on.
Yes,
Myrna.
Myrna.
Sorry. Yeah, I just had a question, so I can wait until everyone's done. It's not related to any of this. So I want to make sure everyone gets their chance to say their announcements. I have a question, a general Clean Pittsburgh Commission question.
I do as well. So I will, if there's any, it's about membership, but.
Same with me, yeah.
Oh, okay, might have the same question.
I doubt it.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I'll just ask it now, and then I'm sorry. I hope I'm not interrupting anyone. But do we still have a police officer or someone from the police department on the commission?
Officer or Detective Sloan is our commissioner.
Okay, great.
From the police department. Yes. So he is still our representative.
Great.
I
thought he had been, but yeah. And then with that, sorry, is I would really love to have the police department or someone, I don't know if it would be Representative Sloan or not, but someone come be like a guest speaker from the police to answer questions that we have about dumping weapons, or just talk about that kind of stuff. And I can sketch that out a little bit more. I know that's very vague, but it would be really helpful just to see like what litter, how the police how they're thinking about litter and dumping, and what we can do to work together to enforce.
I love that a lot, and it kind of comes back to the point I wanted to make before we closed out today is Alicia, as previous co-commissioner, did a very great job of having guest speakers to come in and help us understand things out there a little bit, and we're looking for some more of that participation. I feel like I've not done as good of a job on that as Alicia used to do. So guest speakers, absolutely, I'd love to have somebody from public safety be able to join us and explain what their processes are, what they feel their responsibilities are on these issues. I feel like when we have reached out to public safety in the past, we have gotten different answers from different people on things like what we're supposed to do, what they're supposed to do. So somebody, if anybody knows somebody who would be a really great representative from the public safety department for that, I'd love to follow that up, exactly what you're talking about. And then two, that leads me into the second part of my thought of guest speakers. I'd really appreciate, and I think for the sake of people who tune into these meetings, to have once a month in every single one of our meetings, to have just a small sort of presentation from all the member organizations here about what your organization does, because we're very familiar with each other, and we really appreciate and get involved in everybody else's work. But I'd love for the public to have kind of a primer on what Allegheny Cleanways does, Friends of the Riverfront, and so that could help fill up some of our guest speaker needs as well. So if I could put anybody here on the spot, one to maybe commit next month to say, here's what my organization is focused on and what we're going to be doing this year and how people can get involved, and have a rotating cast of everybody doing that. And then two, if anybody has any really great connections in public safety, to have them join us as well.
I'm happy to do that. But I think the city departments also should be part of that, not just the nonprofits, because I don't even know what some of y'all do. Or, like what, like environmental services is under public works, but like, what does that mean? That's, yeah. Just the framework of how the city works. And I know I should probably go to some bigger class, but just on the commission, how does that work here? And then the other people that I was thinking of, actually, just as membership goes, were the people who did speak to us from the safety. What's it called? The safety department.
Public safety, Department of Public Safety.
All right, Department of Public Safety, connected to crime and visual, litter, how that affects perceptions of safety in communities, and the group or the couple that spoke to us about that, Emily, and I can't remember his name.
Emily Embry came to us and presented to us about CPTED, crime prevention through environmental design. I didn't think to bring this up in this meeting, but she did join us for when we talked to the mayor a couple of weeks ago. We presented the gold plan and an anti-litter campaign that we had previously presented to the commission here. So he's finally up to date on all of our crazy plans. And Emily Embry, we invited along to be a larger part of that because we do want more participation from public safety in Public Works CPTED work. As part of the gold plan, Public Works is interested in pursuing CPTED principles in areas that we're struggling with. And she has also made it clear that in 2023, she wants public safety more involved in that as well. So I think there will be more opportunity on pursuing what we learned in those previous meetings. I think with public safety and her role, and especially in dealing with CPTED, she's been much more community focused rather than process of law enforcement focus. So I think there's probably somebody in public safety that she may be able to point us to as a better representative for us to ask those questions. Wow, we really fell down some rabbit holes here. Any other member organizations or anything else we want to talk about before we adjourn?
I did want to highlight that there are a couple people that need to resign. And not them, they're not here and they're not coming back. So, and their names are still on the website. So I don't know what that all entails. If we need to, send them a letter. I don't know, not a warrant. Someone comes and delivers, so like a divorce thing to you. Just find them, say, here, like we're breaking up from the commission. But yeah, so I don't know who does that, but that would be good. I know we're making space for more people or having more people join, but we should probably remove the old folks as well.
That's a good point. Is there a process where we're required to have a written resignation from the commission? Has that previously been something we've had to do?
Probably, and it's probably an error that our bylaws do not state what is needed for resignation, but neither does the legislation, which is probably why. So that is definitely something we should probably figure out.
So it takes a movement of city council to get somebody on, but once they're on, there's no process for getting them off.
For the people that are some of the people that are interviewing today, some of the other ones are doing so as part of their filling a seat that's guaranteed within the legislation or like designated. So I think when they get elected, when they get appointed by the council, they would be replacing their predecessor. So so for some of those, I think it's straightforward, but for the other ones, I don't know, probably just need to get a resignation from them.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking too, Kelsey, is that I don't remember any kind of formal resignation thing that ever happened, but I am not the rules person. I don't know that honestly for sure, but I think that that's often how it happened. Even, you know, those who are from neighborhoods or whatever, they, it might be a new neighborhood or a new person would join, but they would just take the place of the other person. So, yeah.
Why don't I follow up with those members that we want to reach out to and say, you know, we're asking for your resignation so we can make room for participating membership, so that we can make sure we're up to a quorum and things like that. I'm sure there's a very diplomatic way to do it. So I will take that on as my responsibility to follow up with those members, get their sign off so that we officially, according to our legislation, have the space for them, because we can't exceed a certain amount. And if we have zombie members, for lack of a better term, non-participating members, I don't want to rub up against any sort of regulation like that. So I'll put that one on my plate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any other questions today? Anything else popped into mind? All right, seeing nothing additional, a motion to adjourn, please.
I'll motion to adjourn.
A second. I'm already unmuted. It's good to see you all. Thank you so much for coming out today. We're going into Earth Month. I know you'll be busy. If you think of something else for the newsletter, get it to Chris, and watch this space. We got lots coming up. Thank you.
Great job, everybody. Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.